According to Amnesty International, did you know that over 2/3 of the countries in the world, 141, have now abolished the death penalty in law or practice? In 2010, the overwhelming majority of all known executions took place in 5 countries: China, Iran, North Korea, Yemen, and the United States. Death penalties send the wrong message. Why kill people who kill people to show that killing is wrong? It makes no sense. Yes, we want to make sure there is accountability for crime and an effective deterrent in place. However, the death penalty has a message of, you killed one of us, so we'll kill you. The state is actually using murder to punish someone who committed a murder. Does that make sense? Also, the possibilities exist that innocent men and women may be put to death. There are several documented cases where DNA testing showed that people were put to death by the government. We have an imperfect justice system where poor defendants are given minimal legal attention by often lesser qualified individuals. Some would blame the court system, not that death penalty itself for the problems, but we can't risk mistakes. Not just that, the prisoner's family must suffer from seeing their loved ones put to death by the state. One victim's innocent family is obviously forced to suffer from a capital murder, but in forcing a death sentence, you force another family to suffer. Why double the suffering when we don't have to? Imagine you're next in line to be executed for committing a crime. How would you feel? You'd be terrified, wouldn't you? Well, that's how prisoners feel. Wouldn't it be better to just teach them a lesson by eternal suffering in custody or a torture chamber? For those of you who don't feel much sympathy for a murderer, keep in mind that death might be too good for them. With a death sentence, suffering is over in an instant. With life in prison, the pain goes on for decades. What do you think might have been a better ending for Osama bin Laden? The bullet that killed him instantly, or life of humiliation in an American prison? It is useless in that the death penalty doesn't bring the victim back to life, and that is the biggest reason to ban the death penalty. It doesn't change the fact that the victim is gone and will never come back to life. Hate, revenge, and anger will never cure the emptiness of a lost loved one. Forgiveness is the only way to start the healing process, and this won't happen in a revenge-focused individual. So we as a society have to move away from the eye for an eye revenge mentality if civilization is to advance. The eye for an eye mentality will never solve anything. It will just lead to disaster and violate the cruel and unusual clause in the Bill of Rights. Whether it's a firing squad, electric chair, gas chamber, lethal injection, or hanging, it's barbaric to allow state-sanctioned murder before a crowd of people. We condemn people like Kim Jong-il when they murder their own people, while we continue to do the same. The 8th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution prevents the use of cruel and unusual punishment. Many would interpret the death penalty as violating this restriction. My final and last reason to ban the death sentence is because most people don't realize this, but the death sentence costs 2 to 5 times more than keeping that same criminal in prison for the rest of his life. How can this be? It has to do with the endless appeals, additional required procedures, and legal wrangling that drag the process out. It's not unusual for a prisoner to be on death row for 15 to 20 years. Judges, attorneys, court reporters, clerks, court facilities all require a substantial investment by the taxpayers. Do we really have resources to waste? Well, I hope you enjoyed the speech, and goodbye.